name is I'm Terry Parker. I'm your league president. Thank you for coming out on this foggy, chilly day. It's nice to be here amongst friends. We have a special introduction and a few short announcements before we introduce our guest speaker, who is Dr. Stephanie Bulger from Lane Community College. She's taken time out of her busy schedule to be with us today. First, Mary Vuxic, is it Vuxic Schaefer is with us. Lane County Assessor is with us. And Diana Bodker. Diana is here at the front table. Diana is your new vice president of the league. She joined the league as a retiree with the League of Women Voters of Oregon and did work there, and now is residing in Junction City, her husband's hometown. And so we get the benefit of her knowledge and experience in our local league now here at Lane. So I want you to welcome both of those women. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming, and thanks for your good work in the world. Somewhat mundane, but important. The fruit pickup and plastics recycling is coming on Saturday. So if you have fruit from 9 to 3, you can pick that up at the St. Episcopal Church off of Coburg Road. Everything you need to know is in the Argus or on the league website. If you do want to make an appointment for plastics collection, we're doing that by appointment just to kind of ease the flow. And these are plastics that are not collected at curbside. They go to a special place in Portland. You can go on the website and make an appointment. Scroll down and there's an appointment scheduled. June did a great job of putting the schedule up for us. So thank her for that work. The league office move is happening this week. We're moving to Springfield, thanks to the ultra organized Linda Ferdosian. Thank Linda always. She's just so amazing. And if you do have questions for Dr. Bulger following the presentation, please jot those down. We've got some pencils and cards at the tables. We'll collect those and get to as many as we can as time allows at the end of her presentation. So do I have any other announcements, the good of the order here? We have a land acknowledgement, an important one. Remember that November is Native American Heritage Month. This week you can see the traveling exhibit. It's called Oregon is Indian Country at the Farmers Market Pavilion from 10 to noon, Monday through Friday. But you can also be there during public hours, which is Saturday. And then on Sunday, there's a Native Americans Arts and Crafts Market. So I'm anxious to stop in and see that. And you can see the exhibit then too. So on a quiet, more sober note, we acknowledge that we're on the traditional indigenous homeland of the Kalapuya peoples, who were dispossessed of their indigenous homeland by the US government and white settlers over several years. But most notably in treaties between 1851 and 1855. Kalapuya people were forcibly removed to what are now the Grand Ronde and the Siletz reservations and are now members of Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians, and continue to make important contributions in their communities and across the land we now refer to as Oregon. We share this information out of humility and respect for this indigenous homeland and for the indigenous peoples who continue to live and thrive in what is now called the state of Oregon. Thank you. Now, to introduce Dr. Stephanie Bulger, the 8th president of Lane Community College. Dr. Bulger holds a doctorate in higher education from the University of Michigan, a master's in 19th and 20th century British and American literature, and a bachelor's in English from Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. So you might want to ask her about suggestions for your reading list. She held vice chancellor positions at the San Diego and Wayne Community College districts, and having been a consultant on technology trends impacting higher education, she brings that perspective to the job. She's written on the topics of at-risk student, educational technology, innovation, and distance learning. As you know, Lane Community College creates a significant positive impact on the business community and generates a return on investment to students, taxpayers, society. I doubt that there's a person in the room that has not had some association, direct or indirect, with LCC. At Lane Community College, all are welcome. And Dr. Bulger notes that equity, diversity, and inclusion are critically important. A warm welcome, please, for Dr. Stephanie Bulger. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Really appreciate that. Really, really happy to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me. I certainly share the values of the League of Women Voters. And so I know I'm in company, good company. I grew up in a military family, and we traveled around a lot, which is probably why that experience allows me to be here in Eugene, Oregon. So I grew up in a lot of different places. I was born in Chicago, and I was in San Diego right before coming here to Lane. And then right before that, I was in Michigan at a community college where I spent about 13 years. So why Lane? Well, Lane is a nationally known community college in our field, has a national reputation and known for educational excellence and quality, and also for sustainability. And so when I got this opportunity to come to Eugene and come to Lane Community College, I said, absolutely. So Lane chose me and I chose Lane, and it's a fantastic place to be. A few things that I want to talk to you about today, and we do want to leave some time for questions. And the first slide up here really is our mission, but what I like to talk about with respect to our mission is that Lane is the community's college. Now, other community colleges have mission statements as well. They'll say very similar things in a lot of cases, but to say that Lane is the community's college is very unique in mission statements around the country. And so when you see this, then you know that the community takes the community college very, very seriously. So I'm sure if I asked who has touched Lane in this room, you raised your hand, then most people would raise their hands in the room in some way or another. So really, really happy to be here. Here's a little bit of an overview of us today. So this is who we are today. 6 locations in Lane County. You probably know our center in Florence. You know the Aviation Academy. When you're driving to the airport and you see Lane Aviation Academy, that's Lane Community College. We have a center in Cottage Grove. We have, I'm missing something, the Downtown Center. That's the Mary Spieldy Downtown Center. We're also claiming.
Would you be willing to hold it closer, because it's not really working? Because you have to be really close to it.
Yes, I can do that. Can you hear me now? Okay, great. Okay, so I will do multiple things at this time. So we also have the I mentioned the Lane Aviation Academy. Oh, we have our dental clinic that's on Willamette. And so our dental clinic is one of our sites as well. And we have our main campus, which is on 30th Avenue. We have about 15,000 students annually. Our enrollment is up. There's a story there. I'd be happy to share that with you if you like. Right now, we have about 757 employees. At its height, Lane had about 900 to 1,000 employees. Here we are. Who we're serving. There's a lot of information on this slide. What I'd like for you to know is that our fastest growing student population are our Latinx students, about 17, 18% or so. I'm not sure what this says, but it's about 17 or 18%. We track along very similarly to other community colleges in terms of having more female students than male students, et cetera. We've got a comprehensive program mix. So Lane offers not just university transfer programs or the associate degree, but we also offer programs that are short-term programs, 1 year or less in some cases, and those are career technical education programs. We offer ESL, we offer GED, we offer a variety of programs. Here are our top transfer institutions. Of course, it's no surprise, the University of Oregon is in our backyard. University of Oregon, Oregon State University, Western Oregon University, and also Portland State University. I want to turn now to talking about where Lane is headed. And so our value proposition, we believe, is that we are positioning the institution to be the workforce hub of Lane County and beyond. And what that means to us is that if you take one course from us, any of those courses in any of the programs that I mentioned, you are one of our alum. You are an alum of Lane Community College, and you can come back to us for upskilling and reskilling throughout your lifetime. And so, as you know, people are changing careers multiple times in their lifetime. As you also know, we have a dearth of trained workers right now, and we need more people in our workforce. Well, to do that to upskill and reskill, you come back to Lane Community College and you can gain the kinds of skills that you might need to do that. So we're educating the next generation of workers. Here are a few programs that we want to highlight today. Certainly, you know about our aviation program. I mentioned it to you. We have a pilots program. We also have an aviation maintenance program. What you may not know, though, because it's fairly new, is our unmanned aerial systems. And when you listen to KLCC is also Lane Community College, they'll say uncrewed aircraft systems. It's the same program that they're talking about. This is our program. This is our faculty members. You can see here, really hotshot faculty members, really, really great guy. And you can see the students in this program. What's really, really unique about this program is that the students are actually able to make these drones. And I believe it's 3 of them while they're in the class. They're able to make these drones. And also, the students are working with Stanford University on research. This is research that's happening with Scripps, and it's in the Antarctica. So we've got community college students and we've got university students from Stanford University, no less, working together. This is a photo of our nursing program. It's our first class, graduating class at Lane. And these are our nursing students. You can see that they look fairly typical for that time in history. This is our nursing program today. So you can see not only the diversity in our program, but you can also see that we're using these robotic type mannequins. And these we were able to receive based on the really great work of our Congress people, able to receive about $500,000 to actually upgrade those mannequins. This is our emergency medical technician program. One of the fun things about this particular program is that they're incredibly entrepreneurial. When I went to Autzen Stadium and I had a chance to tour Autzen Stadium and tour the entire stadium, I ran into our students, and our students were first responders there. So they are in the stands, and they're actually watching to make sure that everyone is safe. And so, but this is the largest EMT program in the state of Oregon, and our nursing program actually is the largest, if not one of the largest, in the state as well. We're very proud of that. What I wanted to also mention is a couple of new items here that we have in Oregon. In 2019, the legislature passed legislation to allow community colleges to offer a bachelor's degree. And so we are one of 3 community colleges that are going to be offering a bachelor's degree. One started this term, I believe, and 2 are starting next year. We're starting our program in fall of 2024. It's a bachelor's of applied science and applied business management. And what that is going to allow students to do is what we call a 2+2, which is complete their associate degree in any field and then come to us to get the other 2 years of the bachelor's degree right there at Lane Community College, right there in their communities. So they don't have to leave their communities. They can continue to work or gain some additional training for employment. And so we're really excited about this. One of the other hallmarks of this program is that the students will be doing a co-op experience for 1 year as part of this program. And so they will get additional on-the-job experience as they need it. Let me take our attention to our bond program. And if you were here in May of 2020, then you probably, hopefully voted for our bond. And so that was May of 2020. Now, I remember what I was doing in May of 2020. I was in San Diego in my home. And I bet you were here in your home as well. But you believed in Lane Community College. And so this bond passed at probably one of the highest percentages a bond has ever passed for Lane Community College. So we want to thank you for that. And I'm going to show you a little bit about what that bond program is doing. Certainly, these are the things that we promised the voters. We have established a bond oversight committee of community members. If you know Phil Barnhart, he is our chair of that committee right now. And they are doing some really, really great work to represent all of you and making sure that we are doing what we said we would do. We're very excited about that program. Here's what's happened so far. The Florence Center, I mentioned one of our centers, the one that in Florence on the coast. We have done some renovations of the Florence Center. If you happen to go to Florence, please stop by. The footprint has changed from the street, so it's not covered with trees. You'll see it's an open area right now. We've had a lot of community education in the Florence Center in the past. We're bringing that back. We're also offering some connection, though, from the Florence Center to the main campus with instruction. And one of the things that happened, as you know, is that online education and hybrid education were really accelerated during the pandemic. And so we're able to use the technology tools and able to bring these two locations together. We're also physically located next to Sislaw High School. And so we've been working with Sislaw High School and the students there to get them ready for education beyond high school. Really excited about that. And that's inside. That's one of the piece of the renovation there. The South Lane Clinic, you may have been hearing about our relationship with a number of partners, including the South Lane School District and also Lane County and the city of Cottage Grove. This is our Cottage Grove Center, and it is being redone, renovated to also be a South Lane clinic. And this is providing healthcare services right there in Cottage Grove. And so this was a $400,000 connection, $5 million total cost, $5 million total cost. And this was a lot of partners, including the U.S. Department of Agriculture as well. And so we are investing $400,000 of the bond into this renovation. So we will be offering courses and other kinds of academic programming out of here in community education, but it's also a federally qualified health center, which is really, really helpful for this part of the county. And with South Lane School District, we will be working with them, continuing to work with them on our dental clinic. And so here's inside of that. It's going to be quite a beautiful renovation. Now, if you want to do something fun, then please come to the main campus and sign up for one of the tours for 2 new buildings on our campus, on our main campus. And so here's one of them, a health professions building. Now, if you've been here a while, then you know that we already have a health professions building on campus. Well, that has our nursing program and some other programs. I showed you a photo of that a little bit earlier. Our EMT students who are in that building are doing their demonstrations on the stairs because they've essentially outgrown that building. We have a dental clinic, as I mentioned, it's on Willamette. We'd like to bring that dental clinic back to the main campus. They tell me that our medical assisting program has been traveling around the campus in different spaces over the last several years and never have had really a permanent home. We want to bring that to the building as well. When you drive along 30th Avenue, you'll see that the footprint has changed beyond the fields. And you'll see that this building, that's what it is. It's got blue on the outside and all of that, but it's going to look like this. And it's going to be a fantastic building for our health professions, which, as you know, are high wage, high demand programs. If you go to the hospital or any clinic, you're probably going to run into a student who's been trained at Lane Community College. So we do good work. And so here we have the programs that I just mentioned that are going to be in this building. And there's on the inside. It's a wonderful building. You should come see it. This is the Industry Trades Education Center. So this is going to be double the footprint of the Health Professions building in terms of square footage. As you drive along Eldon Schaefer Drive, and you pass the welding building, that's the first building essentially that you come to. The second building is going to be this. I tell everyone, we build buildings incredibly fast in Oregon, incredibly fast. And so this building is already coming up. I just had a tour of that last week. And so we are open for business in terms of tours of this building. It's going to have in it CNC machining. This is computer numerical control, machining, what we call Industry 4.0, which are robotics and how technology is affecting the trades. That's going to be in this building. Then, of course, our unmanned aircraft systems and fabrication, our apprenticeship programs and construction. So this will be our first trades building, essentially, a modern trades building, I would say, that will be on the campus. And we're incredibly excited about this because in our working with industry, we talked to about 200 companies before the design was actually developed for this particular building. 200 companies. They want to work with us. Many of them are already working with us. They want to work with us to help build the workforce of the future, as I mentioned earlier. And here is another view of this building. If you're aware of our campus a little bit, then you'll know that the building behind this is an art building. This is kind of creates an art core and sort of an art technology corridor for the campus. And we think there's some really nice intersections that have already been taking place, intersections between art and technology. Our economic impact. I know there's a lot of information on the slide, but what I really like to emphasize to groups is that when you graduate from Lane and you get an associate degree, you are going to make, on average, an annual $7,900 more than with a high school diploma. These days, you really should go and get some training and education beyond high school. But I'm hoping that what we've been able to show today is that education can be fun. It can be what individuals may want to do next with their lives. We take students, we take people of all backgrounds, we take people of all ages, and you can come to Lane Community College and find yourself, find your passion. If you don't know what it is, you can find it at Lane Community College, but you can also if you know what your passion is, you can actually realize that. I'll just tell you a couple of quick stories. So I was on campus. This is going into my second year. I was on campus 7 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I get to the office pretty early. 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm on campus. It's right around the first days of the term. And I see this student, and she's walking really, really fast. And she looks to be around in her mid-30s. And she says, and I said, oh, do you need some help finding your way? And I said, well, what are you doing here? And she says, well, I was at one of our sister universities. She says, oh, I was there and I graduated, but I'm here because I want to be a nurse. I want that next step in my life. That story happens quite a bit. Second story, I was leaving one day and I was going out to the parking lot. It was in the afternoon. And I saw this guy who was on the phone, and he was talking to this person on the phone, and he says, oh my, he says, I've got to do something. It was clear that the person on the other end of the line was saying, what are you doing over there at Lane Community College? Why are you spending your time on that? And he was saying, I have got to do something. And there was exasperation in his voice that he just needed to find his next step. So we take people of all backgrounds, and we are super excited about the future of Lane. How do we work together? One of the things that I know the League of Women Voters is that you want us to talk about how we might be able to work together. We just looked at some data. We participate in this organization that gives us information about our students and their voter participation. And Lane is actually doing pretty well. I think we have maybe more work to do, but I looked at some data in 2020. We had 67% of our students who were engaged in voter participation. And that was compared to the national average, which was about in associate degree level institutions, which of course is what we are. And that was about 56%. So we were incredibly pleased at how actively engaged our students are in participating in voting. So we know the importance of voter education. Our student government has talked about voter education and how important it is to them. I did want to take a point of privilege here and just invite you, if you're interested in more volunteer work. We have 2 committee assignments that we're looking for individuals from the community to serve on: the Bond Oversight Committee, as I mentioned earlier, and also our Budget Committee, which stands up only 4 times, everyone, in May. And so we're looking for individuals to work with us on that. And you probably have heard some of those announcements through KLCC. So that's all I've got. I'm hoping that I stimulated some of your interest, some of your excitement in Lane. I'm incredibly excited to be here. I've got many, many more stories about what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish at the college, but I'll stop there. I would be happy to.
Well, I can go around, but here's the first question. Is there anything that keeps you up at night? What are the biggest challenges?
No, nothing keeps me up at night. So many things keep me up at night. I really am interested in serving more people in Lane County and beyond. And that is no easy feat when you are taking the helm of an institution, a very fine institution, after a pandemic. And so some of the pandemic effects at our institution have just created some challenges for us that we're addressing. We have some incredibly talented people, faculty, classified professionals, and managers. And so we have executive team. We have some incredibly talented people. And so what keeps me up at night is just making sure that I am supporting the institution in doing the great work that we're charged to do, and serving more people. And I think we're doing it. So our story there is that when I came in, we were headed toward a further decline in enrollment. We've been experiencing a bit of a decline in enrollment over some time. And I said, oh, we're going in the wrong direction. Let's go in a different direction. And so we started an enrollment campaign. We were down a little bit in the fall, but we were up in winter, spring, summer, and fall. Record increase in enrollment this term. A bit of that certainly is what's happening in the environment with people wanting to come back. But I think our messaging is getting out into the community about who we are and what we have to offer. And people are coming back to us and they're super happy to be on campus. So that's a little bit about what keeps me up at night.
So to be fair, here's the other half of the question. What gives you the most hope?
Oh, well, the people always give me the most hope. And we have some incredibly good people, as I mentioned, at the institution who they do it, this is noble work. And so they do this work because it's part of their passion. And so I have incredible belief in what we're doing because the people are so great. I can't do it alone. I can't do anything alone. And so that's why I have hope.
Good to hear. And congratulations on those enrollment numbers.
Thank you.
Are there programs in technology that are tapping into opportunities in AI development?
Oh, all of them are in a lot of ways, and too numerous probably to name. But the robots that you saw, the nursing robots, they're programmed. And so I think much of the technology I showed you, those unmanned aerial systems, there's artificial intelligence in there. It's in almost everything that we do. And so we will be adapting as much as we can, as quickly as we can, to the technology. And that's why the industry partnerships and relationships are so important, so that we can stay abreast of what new technologies we need to work with to train students. We have been, we call, I'm going to share, Brett. So we call ChatGPT Employee of the Month, because it has been working with us on helping us draft press releases. And we have translated some of those press releases into Spanish. And I understand that it's been surprisingly accurate as well. So we have been using artificial intelligence as an assistant to, but you'll certainly be seeing more of that and how we're using it.
So I failed to introduce Brett Roulette. Do you have anything to say about Brett?
Oh my gosh. Well, so Brett is the communicator of the year. First of all, let's give Brett a round of applause. He's fantastic. So Brett Roulette is our executive director for external affairs. I could not be more delighted to have Brett on our team. He's just fantastic. He's been at the institution for about 15 years, I think, at Lane Community College for about 15 years. And Brett, no? Okay. Yeah, really, really great.
Speechless communicator.
But when you're talking about having relationships, though, deep relationships with our local delegation, statewide delegation, and also our federal delegation, Brett is just fantastic at that. Plus, he has connections to students and student advocacy, which is really just a nice complement to, I think, his background. So could not say enough really great things about Brett. If you saw my entire team, I'd say great things about each one of them, because they're really fantastic people. I got a chance to, you generally don't like to do this. I pledged when I came in, I'm going to work with the people who are there. They know the area, they know the college, they're committed. I'm going to work with them. Through one thing and another, I did have gotten a chance to hire several of the vice presidents and others at the institution, and have, I believe, hired some people who really fit in to this community and who are already on the Springfield Chamber Board, and so really have hired some good people. So to make you proud.
So this is, I read LCC has about 14% students that are unhoused. Is the school able to help these students at all?
One of the things that we have available to us is, and of course there's a fee for this. We have a residence hall that's downtown, connected to our downtown building, and it's called Titan Court. A lot of our international students actually live there, but other students do as well. And I think even people from the community too. And so we have University of Oregon students and others there. We take very seriously the basic needs issues of our students. It's not just housing insecurity, but it's also food insecurity. And we have an incredible program. We call it the Career Pathways Program. It's a term of art, or pronoun rather. It's a capital C, capital P, and it when students come into there, no one says, well, what program do you want to sign up for? What they say first is, what are your needs? Where are you living? What can we do to help? And so there's a network of opportunity for these particular students to connect students right away to services in the community. And we call it Career Pathways. We have benefited from something called a role called the Benefits Navigator. If you're familiar with that, there was some legislation, I believe, in the state that allowed community colleges to have this Benefits Navigator role. And what I would love to do, frankly, is scale that, because it's all of our students who walk in the door who need some sort of assistance in some way or another. So I wouldn't say that we are necessarily going into the housing business, but we are certainly doing our part to be part of a network in the city and very supportive of what the city and others are trying to do with respect to this housing crisis that we've got.
Any other questions from the floor right now? There's one there. Linda? Okay.
Yes, I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
We have several partnerships.
So the question is the relationship between high schools and Lane Community College?
Yes. We have several partnerships. I did mention the South Lane School District with the dental hygiene program, for example. We have a program called College Now. And what that does is we basically certify teachers in high schools to teach college courses. Students are able to get college credit for the course and also high school credit at the same time. And that's a growing kind of program. One of the things that I've been doing is driving around the county to talk to the superintendents. And I really, since I'm new here, I really wanted to get a sense of where the high schoolers were in the county, and I couldn't visited maybe 7 or 8 or so far, and we have additional ones scheduled. And so I'm collecting themes about what the school superintendents and need and want in their development of high school students. But that's what we do. We've been looking a lot at our data on how many high school students from each of these districts who have been coming to Lane, and we would like to have more of them come to Lane. We think that Lane is an incredibly good value proposition for families. It's not just affordability in terms of tuition, lower cost or affordable education at in high quality, but there are other benefits as well in terms of the scholarships. We have a very robust LCC foundation. So we have donors in our community. Maybe some of you are donors, but thank you very much if you are. But we have donors who invest in scholarships for our students. Some of those students have a full ride in the nursing program. We're talking about $15,000. I mean, so it's no small feat. So we are working with our high schools in a number of ways. We understand that there's a declining population of high school students or school students graduating. We just want more of them to come. We know they have many, many options, but we want more of them to come to Lane. Yes, in the Oregon Promise Grant, and Brett, if you wouldn't mind just talking about the cost relative to universities.
For those who are not familiar with the Oregon Promise Grant program, oh, that's right, we're recording. The Oregon Promise Grant was a program created by the Oregon legislature. I believe it was in 2017. It provides 2 years of almost free community college education for high school graduates. The one catch is they have to go right into community college as soon as they graduate high school. So they have to kind of stay on the track and not take a year or two off. But as long as they do that, they can go to any community college in the state of Oregon as long as they graduate high school with a 2.0 GPA or higher and get most of their tuition covered. It's also open to recent GED graduates. So if you know any folks that have recently completed a GED or kids who are about to graduate high school, please let them know about that program. There's a couple things they need to do. Fill out a FAFSA, which is the federal application for student aid. And they also have to fill out an application that's available through the state, which hopefully all of their high schools are encouraging them to do. But it's a fabulous program, and the students that participate have higher levels of success than our average students.
We just have, I know, I think I talk loud.
My husband runs a GED program for 4J, and the Oregon Promise is how so many of his students get their first 2 years of education after their GED, and they have a great partnership with Lane. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. I have a question over here.
Do you see, with regard to the, how do you see the league helping or working with LCC to help, as you had, boost voter registration, boost voter education? Is there something we can do to help with regard to that?
Yes, I believe so. I believe that we can explore options. I've already talked to my vice president of student affairs, and he works with the student government and with all of the students. And he's very, very open to being connected with the League of Women Voters to have some conversations and explore ways for us to educate more of our students about the value of voting, what voter participation means in their lives, because we all know that when we start with students, no matter what their age is, when they leave us, then they're probably going to be voting for the rest of their lives. And so this is an incredibly good start for them to learn about the value of voter education. So I think that's something that we can do together immediately.
Thank you. Sharon always has great questions. That was my question too. What can we do to kind of support voter education? So we'll be in touch.
I was wondering, since high schools, sorry. So I was wondering, since high schools are really stepping up with their construction technology and starting to build homes for unhoused people that are affordable, and what would be the next step? And maybe you mentioned the program at LCC, but is there anything that would help these people easily go to a community college and learn more about design, affordability, all of that, so that they don't have to get a degree in architecture? Or, what would be the next step for them?
Absolutely. And they can certainly get a degree in architecture if they would like to. And I really, really appreciate this question. One of the first things that I was able to do when I came in, it was probably a year and a few months ago, was to participate in a program called Constructing a Brighter Future. I don't know if anybody has heard of that. But what it is Lane ESD, Lane Workforce Partnership, Lane Community College are working together. Faculty at Lane are working with the high school students. High school students are getting college credit for the courses that are taking place in the construction program. And the college students are also there as well, earning college credit for that construction program. And so when students finish, they are constructing tiny homes. And there's a tiny home village in the city that you probably have seen. And many of those homes are there in that tiny home village. And so when students graduate from high school, they are getting experience on constructing actual homes. So it's not theoretical, it's not in the lab. These are actual homes. The students from the community college are doing that too. It also incentivizes the students from high school to actually come to Lane after high school to continue their education. So that's one of the things that we're doing. But certainly if students want to leave and then go and get an architecture degree, then certainly they can feel free to do that as well. And we'll be right there when they need some upskilling and reskilling after they finish.
Good question. I'll bring it to you, Pam.
About ex-offender reentry. So years ago, back in the day, I was with a program in Sacramento City College. And as staff, we had received federal grant and for ex-offender reentry. It involved outreach to all the probation parole officers to see who was being released from prisons. We'd interview them, see what their education level was, in prison. Reentry, we had a set of peer counselors, and it was all very successful. So by the end of 3 years, what we had done is hoped to deinstitutionalize, not have a separate program, but to have all the counseling staff trained to know which degrees an ex-offender could or could not have. And then there were actually ex-offenders who were hired as counselors. So you didn't need to have a special grant for peer counselors. So I'm wondering if you have any sort of a organized outreach program where it can be a seamless from their education in prison, they're being released to our community and perhaps find a place at at your home?
I would really like to explore that more, is how we can have relationships in order to bring more individuals who are formerly incarcerated into our institution. Like some community colleges that have prisons close by, for example, we don't have that. And so, so our work involves working with students and not really identifying those students. But we know certainly that individuals who are formerly incarcerated come to Lane and have the same opportunities to access our programs and our services as anyone else. And so we don't treat them differently in that way. But it's certainly something that others in the community have mentioned to me. Others on campus, and on our campus community, we've got a really strong faculty member who's very interested in this kind of work. And so I think that there's something that could be explored. If you have connections here, then I would certainly like to know about them.
I have one more question, and this is just of interest. So, except for the weather and the cold, how's been the challenge going from San Diego to Eugene?
Well, there are a few things I haven't traded. One of them is the beauty. It's incredibly beautiful here in Oregon. I've not traded that at all, and don't tell Californians, but we may have traded up in some ways. But it's really beautiful state with a lot of natural wonders, and I'm going to try to get around to seeing some of them. I don't have a lot of time, extra time, but I certainly am going to try to do that. But I do, of course, miss the weather. You know, the weather is so nice in San Diego in a lot of ways, but and I get there from time to time when there's just a little bit of a lull. But no, I could not be happier with Eugene. I mentioned to you about the weather. We had a few late starts last year. We were started, instead of at 8 o'clock, we started at 10 o'clock because there was ice on at least where I lived in the south area. And I was a little bit panicked. I thought maybe I'll never get out of my house here. And because, the hills and, you can't travel. And I had a different vehicle at the time. And then I just waited until noon and it was 40 degrees. And I thought, oh, well, that's winter here in Eugene. That has nothing to, nothing on those Midwestern winters. So I think I'm good.
You're a quick study. In Oregon, you just wait a few minutes and the weather changes. So
That's right.
Yeah, it's part of who we are. Well, thank you. Thank you again. And thank you for choosing us.
Thank you very much.
Please, any other announcements for the floor? Thank you all once again. And look,